Alright, I wanted to real quickly discuss sort of the hypocrisy that I'm seeing in a lot of the bigger media outlets these days. Now, for a long time, one of the reasons, let me put it this way, one of the main reasons why I would consider myself, or at least used to consider myself a Democrat, was basically was because for the most part, a lot of the views and opinions presented by people on the left were actually backed up by facts. Were backed up by information, by proof. It was less about he said, she said, or their opinion. That's why back in the day, whenever people say like, "Oh, I don't trust the liberal biased media," no, they're not liberal they're not liberal biased. They were just telling the truth, and the right wing was wrong or lying. And and that was sort of a thing that used to be, and it still is, where it's like, okay, well, it's just they disagree with the Republican Party, and so they're just liberal biased. No, the Republican Party was just dead fucking wrong, and they're pointing it out. But now, fast forward to today, and it really, like, it's, I don't know how to put it. It's disappointing what I have seen the media become. And the one example that I wanted to share with you today, is sort of devolved into this thing where you've got groups like the Blaze and Breitbart. They lean more Republican. They're more just crazy, but Fox News, of course, things like that. But then you also have the left-wing side, like Salon.com, Huffington Post, I think Politico for a lot of times. CNN kind of, MSNBC, oh yeah. Where honestly they've gotten to the point where they're just as bad. And I really hate that they do that. Because to me, I am a big fan of the truth. All right? Like if your opinion doesn't add up, if it's not verifiable by facts, then what good is it? It's an opinion. It's just that. It can be easily refuted. And to me, that was what made a lot of people on the left more appealing to me, or more, that's why I agreed with them more, is because more often than not, their opinions were actually backed up by something. But when you get in, and I appreciate, and that's something I have a respect for, and I like that honesty, where you don't try to twist things to fit, the way your team is leaning, or the way you want them to go. You tell the truth, and what happens. It's like a saying, like a phrase or a quote I'm going to take here from Greg Palast. He one time I heard him say that a lot of time, that for the most part there are not two sides to every story. There's the truth and there's bullshit. Like, me personally, I don't care who's right and who's, I don't care that my side is in the right in this particular time. What I care about is hearing the truth. I don't want to hear bullshit just because it's bullshit that favors my side. I think that's childish. How did I get on this? Okay, well, I came across an example of it too, like today, that I wanted to share, and because I came across an article as far as sort of, to me, kind of speaks to how there is now in these days a lot of sort of left-leaning bias, and from a lot of these platforms or a lot of these media organizations. And it troubled me because, okay, now I can't trust you because you're just as much of a hack as, fucking Bill O'Reilly or what's that other asshole's name? What is his name? I'm completely spacing. He started the Blaze. He was like even farther, like more of a wingnut than O'Reilly. O'Reilly is just mainly just an asshole. Glenn Beck. There you go. They're no better than Glenn Beck. They're no, Rachel Maddow. In my opinion, at this point, people like Rachel Maddow and Chris Hayes, they're no better than Glenn Beck. They're no better than Bill O'Reilly. They're no better than freaking Slanthead himself, Sean Hannity. Because they're as much of a hack. They're just a hack for the left. And here's the example. I came across this article on CNN Politics, and basically the same thing parroted on Salon.com, on Huffington Post, Politico, I think was relatively even about it. They focus more on other stuff. But first off, let me just, these are articles in relation to Donald Trump inviting the Filipino president, Roberto? Hang on. Oh, sorry, Rodrigo Duterte to the White House. Now, the reasoning for it in the CNN article, the reasoning for the invitation is basically to kind of smooth things over, to show they have good rapport or good relationship, because the Philippines is sort of in the general neighborhood of North Korea and China and Japan, just kind of basically. Is the idea is they're trying to make friends or be friendly with as many people as they can in that area, and that's why they extended the invitation for him to visit. And that's not the main thing. What I wanted to talk about was the way the articles are written. For instance, let's start with the headlines. CNN Politics: Trump invites Philippines Duterte to the White House. Pretty reasonable. Salon.com: Trump invites Rodrigo Duterte, the Philippines' murderous authoritarian leader, to the White House. Why should we be surprised? I expected better. Huffington Post: Trump administration defends inviting president who admitted murdering people to Washington. Okay, so let me go in real quick into a little bit of background on this Duterte guy. Duterte has a bit of a checkered background, kind of sketchy. He's kind of like, you could almost imagine him being like a Filipino version of Trump. Like he's really kind of brash, really out there. I believe at one point he referred to Obama as a son of a whore, or maybe a son of a bitch. There are differing reports. It may have been both. You never know. But anyway, the main thing is he is very brash, you could say. I mean, let's just be honest about it. He's an asshole. He's been evidently tweeted out and said things publicly about supporting vigilante justice against drug crime in his country and criminals. They've had under his rule, they've had a major crackdown on drug use and drug dealing, in which I think a couple thousand people have been. Here we go. CNN's article. They have a whole paragraph on it. Duarte's term has been marked with accusations of human rights violations since he became president last year. He has encouraged the extrajudicial killings of thousands of citizens suspected of dealing or using drugs. He took power in June 2016 and waged an all-out war on drugs, which killed some 6,000 people in his first 6 months. In December, he admitted to having suspected criminals killed when he was mayor of Davao City. Duarte's tirades have raised many eyebrows since he took office. While on a trip to China in October, he said, anyway, the thing, yada yada yada, a little skipping. He also described Trump's predecessor, President Barack Obama, as a son of a bitch, causing the White House to cancel planned bilateral talks. Okay, I would like to throw out there, really? He insults you, so we're going to call off talks or negotiations or for whatever reason. Fuck you then. Like, it seems a little petty. I mean, come on. But anyway. And there's this whole thing about it, what interests me is, basically, the article, invitation, basically I say, Trump extended an invitation for him to come to Washington, to visit in the White House, to have their, discussion, talks, and everything like that. An invitation spurred questions about whether the White House should extend a visit to a leader who has been much criticized for alleged human rights abuses, such as extrajudicial killings, I hate that word, and Duarte's war on drugs. And see, here's the thing. Something I've noticed with this article. Okay. Should we... And this is the most reasonable, more balanced one on CNN Politics. Oh, should we really be extending invitation to someone with a sketchy human rights record? And this is where the whole hypocrisy, in my opinion, comes into play. Because if you rewind, there's another reason I'm harping on the CNN article, because I found another article on CNN Politics, this one from last year, about President Obama's visit, not invitation, but actual visit, to clear the air. To clear the air with Saudi Arabia. So he himself flew to Saudi Arabia to meet with the Saudi king. What's his name? What's his douchewad's name? King Salman. About how there's been some tensions between the U.S. and Saudi Arabia over the fact that we don't need as much of their oil anymore. And there's the whole thing about Congress passing that bill that would allow people to file lawsuits against the Saudi government if they could prove that the Saudi government directly funded the 9/11 attacks, which Obama actually vetoed, and then in a stunning show of bipartisan support, they actually went back to Congress, passed it with a veto-proof majority, and sent it through. Which, that was one of those situations where you know what, fuck the Saudis. I hate them. They're bastards. But we'll get into that. Anyway, so this whole stuff is going on last year, and tensions are a little tense between the U.S. and Saudi Arabia. So President Obama flies to Saudi Arabia to meet in person with the Saudi king. Now, in this entire article, which, by the way, is a fair bit longer than the one about Duarte and Trump, one line of the article, one line in the entire thing, they dedicated an entire line to mention, and I quote, a rigidly conservative Islamic monarchy with a questionable human rights record. Questionable human rights record. And that's only mentioned. They go, I'm not gonna see here, just meeting with the Saudis, smoothing out relations. But see, that's the thing when we talk about this comparison. Let's be clear what questionable human rights record actually means when we're talking about Saudi Arabia. First off, there's a whole way they treat women. I mean, we're talking about a country that's basically governed by Sharia law, where women are required to cover head to toe. They're not allowed to travel or go outside without a male guardian. They're not allowed to drive. In addition to that, just more in general, this is a country that likes to behead people. Behead. 2017, shit you not, they put you, like, if you commit certain crimes, they will put you on your knees in a city square, pull out a sword, and cut your fucking head off. In public. On tape, in some cases. Now, let me go through a list of some of the crimes for which they will cut your damn head off for. They include, but are not limited to, adultery, atheism, apostasy, armed robbery, blasphemy, burglary, carjacking, aircraft hijacking, drug smuggling, fornication, home invasion, sodomy, homosexuality and lesbianism, idolatry, murder, rape, sedition and political crimes, sexual misconduct, sorcery, terrorism, theft, treason, waging war on God, and shit you not witchcraft. Okay. So on the one hand, we have the president mass criticism. Oh, murderous tyrant, authoritarian tyrant being invited to the White House by President Trump. I am not surprised. And then on the other hand, we have our previous president, the Democratic president that everyone liked, including these organizations, traveling to the country, to the palace of the king of a nation that in 2017 will behead you for witchcraft and sorcery. I don't know what the difference is, really. Sorcery, witchcraft, maybe there's I don't know. They will fucking behead you for witchcraft. They won't let women out of the house without a male guardian, require them to cover head to toe, and basically have no rights. And, oh, no problem. Yeah, they kind of human rights, questionable human rights background. But, it's no big deal. And this is coming from, it's not like, oh, we're looking at, like, different organizations. This is from CNN Politics. 2 articles from the same news organization. And, about, what is it, a year? I think this was like in April. So this is almost, April 20th, 2016, this article came out. Versus May 1st, 2017. So almost exactly, like a little, like basically 1 year later. Only 1 year's difference. And my God, they are singing a different tune about massive human rights violators and American presidents getting together and socializing. It was all good under Obama last year to meet with someone who runs a country that beheads you for political protests and for atheism and for blasphemy and fucking witchcraft. But, and that's all cool, but, you get someone who's, granted, I have no doubt that this Duarte guy's an asshole and a tyrant. And I'm not saying, the Saudis are much worse. I don't know, they might be. I don't think the Duarte guy will cut your head off for witchcraft. I don't think. But it really just holy cow. Like the way these people, like, they will just, like, oh, nothing to see here when it's someone on their side, but when it's the other side, oh my God, he's meeting with tyrants and authoritarian despots. Holy shit, the pearls need to be clutched. And it pisses me off. To me, it puts their credibility in the fucking toilet. It's like I can't trust you because you're displaying the same like partisan hackery that the friggin' politicians do. So whenever you're talking about someone on your side, I can't trust you. And whenever you're talking about someone on our side, again, I can't trust you because you'll just gloss over fucking everything, and the other one, if they sneeze wrong, like, oh my god, he's betraying our country. Again, this is not really a political thing. This is not a left-wing, right-wing thing. This is a tell the fucking truth. You are a news organization thing. Anyway, that was a pretty long rant, so I'm going to go ahead and take a break. So, take care. Have a nice day. I hope you like the camera setup and the whole thing I'm going for here. Trying to up the production quality, things like that. And I'm also trying to really, really hard not to look at the little screen next to my camera. So I really need to focus on the lens and quit doing that. So anyway, that's all for now. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe if you would. Particularly comment and like, and all of them are equal in importance, but I would definitely appreciate some feedback. Let me know what kind of stuff you like, what you don't like, what you'd like to, maybe some suggestions on what to cover, or changes or improvements that could be made. And I will see you in the next video.